Hi guys. So I was on another, well, I'm trying to record this video and my devices have been acting strange. I know I've been getting sent links by people that I'm supposed to be able to trust. And so it's a way of, the police and anyone involved trying to prohibit my way, or anyone who doesn't want me to talk about what's going on. Um, So, they have to go after your devices. So anyways, as I was saying, so this woman um, said she was going to come back at a certain time to get her car, even though my manager offered to park the car like, over across the way, because there's open like parking lot. There's plenty place. It's like open, like she could park anywhere. He offered to take it over there and she said no. So instead she wanted to be parked sideways like this. So you know, again, we have a security issue going on with all these cars being left in the parking lot. There was another car, it was an SUV, and it would be placed over here on the side. It was there for a number of days. It had a license plate that said Fix, F-I-X, and then I-T, Fix It. It looked like it was from Wyoming or Wisconsin. I forgot which one, but it could have been, I think it was Wisconsin. That was another car there to surveillance us. And when they saw that I was taking photos or trying to keep track of license plates, they started abandoning these cars. Again, not just with bullet holes and a bullet stuck on the antenna, but with no license plates. And, my people people I worked with were feeling really uneasy about this because it was disrupting our ability to, it was a disruption, and it was a nuisance. And it was unnecessary, and it was a security issue for me with the customers, for myself, and for my coworkers, because I have to count a large amount of money when I close the store. But we had the police taking part in this, and also the ambulance department, and I'm going to get into that as well. So when they realized I was towing these cars and I wasn't going to have it, they parked a gray car across the street, and I'm pretty sure I have a video on that I'm going to be posting, to watch us, to surveillance us. They use vehicles to surveillance us, to ensue the stalking, to know where I'm going, what time I'm coming, what time I'm going, so the stalking can ensue once I leave the premises. So not only that, but when we would leave the store, I was getting a ride, we would get followed by a dark blue SUV that looked like a law enforcement car, but it didn't say police on it. And it would park across the street or park down here when I was working. And then it would, follow my manager and I on the street I live and in between my house and his house. And then sometimes it would just stake out across the street at the Chevrolet dealership. So there was a lot of things going on that we didn't appreciate. So we also had customers come in and loiter and become nuisance. And they would be disrespectful or try to create problems. And when something is intentional and 1 minute they're nice, 1 minute they just turn into a devil, you have to ask yourself, here we go again. Really? So some people were not allowed to come into the store when I work. And we have a policy. We can refuse service to anybody at any time if you can't behave yourself. We already got people abandoning cars in the parking lot with bullets. That wasn't enough for these people. This guy on Christmas, previous visits, he was a nuisance. He has weapons in his truck, and he was under the influence. And Officer Skygle happens to know this guy. How do I know that? Well, the night he came to cause problems when he was told he couldn't come when I was working, he came on Christmas night. And when he came in, on my video, he seemed to be okay, but he refused to leave. He refused to follow the policy of the store for the safety of myself and for customers. You're a grown man. I'm not going to babysit you for $12 an hour. I'm sorry. So what he did was he parked right here, and then he got his truck and he like parked like this because I was stalking over here. He parked his truck like this and he shined his lights on me. He refused to leave the property. And there is a convenience store right across the street with probably even more choices of tobacco. He refused to go across the street. There's also stores down the street. He refused to get in his truck and go down the street or go across the street. No, he had to be a problem. So when he was doing this and he wouldn't leave and he had his truck parked on the side with his brights shining on me. Again, this guy has weapons. And I was going to come out and videotape him, but you know, he started getting a little hostile. It's Christmas night. People are under the influence. He couldn't go somewhere else with loved ones. He couldn't spend time with his family. You know, he had to come for me at Get and Go. He couldn't go to get tobacco across the street. He got to come for me at Get and Go. So I called the police and Officer Skygle came. And I showed that video of what went on with Officer Skygle. And it is not okay. Officer Skygle trying to get this guy his tobacco. No. And wanting to call my manager on Christmas night so I could sell his friend, his domestic terrorist, who does his dirty work for him. Like Donald Trump has Bannon and all those people at the Capitol doing their crimes. You know, Officer Skygle was sticking up for his domestic terrorist, his troublemaker. No. No, no, and no. With all due respect. I wanted to do a police report because he's trespassing. He's been told prior. And I was refused. Skygle wouldn't let me. That's not the first time the police wouldn't let me make a police report. So, fast forward, me and my manager are leaving a Mexican restaurant after work. And this guy shows up out of nowhere. How in the hell does he know where we're at? Oh yeah, he's friends with Skygle. He's part of the crew. He starts chasing us up and down the freeway. High-speed chase. High-speed chase. And he chases us off the exit. And at that point, my manager threw something out of the window, and my phone was, it was like, I don't know what he threw. I don't know why he did it, but my phone was like on the bag because we had gotten food. He threw something where my phone fell because there was a high chase going on that we were booking it away from this crazy guy. My phone fell on the food, some wrappers, and my manager threw it out. We were arguing because I felt like scared, and I felt like he wasn't, you know, like, why is this happening? And I realized it was the guy that was in the store on Christmas. Again, except he was in a black car. So then the guy in the black car, the troublemaker, gets off at the exit we get off. And so we try to lose him because we have to go back and get my phone that got thrown out. And who shows up? Officer Skygle. What are you guys doing? And this little domestic terrorist was right there. This is what I'm talking about, guys. And again, the guy in the truck that also was in the black car chasing us has weapons. You know, I'm put in harm's way because police can't be police. They gotta be. They want to be criminals too. Take your pick. Pick a side, please. I beg you. So, you know, going to work on foot or having to go to work on, you know, go home on foot, you know, you got to be looking over your shoulder all the time. And we had people coming in the store questioning us as if they had every reason to question us, because they had the car across the street surveillancing us. Now, I'm going to talk about how the ambulance department took part in the harassment. So the ambulance would come in, they had their fire truck and their uniform on, and they would buy tobacco. And sometimes, they weren't really able to control themselves. I mean, it's a free country. They can say what they want, but they're supposed to. They're role models for a lot of people in town. You expect them to at least behave themselves. Not in this case. So this man, he did things as childish and ridiculous when I was behind the counter. Like, he'd come and be like, "Oh, working at this store is such a big responsibility." And no one's even talking to him. I'm helping someone else, and he says this really loud, and it didn't really faze me. I just, I was too busy. And then another time, let's see what else happened. Oh, so another time he wanted tobacco, and I couldn't hear him. He said he wanted tobacco, but then when I asked him what kind, he said it really, really low. Like, he said it really, really low, really low. And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Never mind," real loud. "Oh, never mind, forget it." I was just like, man, this guy has some issues. He needs to get a new line of work. I'll trade him positions. But then, one night I'm going to get food, and I leave in my coworker's car. In walks that guy from the ambulance department. Again, they're able to see everything going on. It was like free entertainment reality show to these people who have nothing else better to do, that are desperately trying to find something to pin on you because they're making money off of hunting you and telling everybody you're a criminal and lying and saying you're being investigated. Well, where's your court orders? Where's the court order? What crime have I committed? So he comes into my job as I drive away, and my manager was so sick of these devils. He was so sick of everything going on. Again, he told me before you got here, none of this was going on. He was like, it was so quiet. I go, "Welcome to my world." So the ambulance guy goes right on in as I leave, in the ambulance truck, in uniform. These people have nothing better else to do. And goes up to my manager and says, "Hey, where'd she go? She took off. Why'd she take off in your car? Where's she going?" And you know what? My manager was thinking, "Dude, I don't even know you. Why don't you go, start a fire and put it out so you can leave me alone?" My manager was just thinking, what the hell is going on with the police and with the fire department? And it just so happened that these people can't allow me to be and go someplace without them on my ass, without them knowing where I'm going and what I'm doing, so they can make things difficult for me. So he leaves, I come back, and my manager's like, "You're never going to guess what happened." And, we're eating dinner. We're not bothering nobody. We're just doing our job. And, I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of being put in harm's way. Having these situations, security issues with the money and with the store and with my person and with my coworkers and with the customers, and then having, the ambulance kind of throw it in our face. Oh, yeah, we're watching you. Like, well, go get a hobby. Go get a treadmill. Lose some weight. And buy me one because I got about 30 pounds to lose. So, I decided to call the ambulance department and speak with a supervisor and ask him, what's going on? Why is this going on? And could you please make it stop? We're at work. And I couldn't find the number online because every number I called, it just went to like an answering service or something. And so I called non-emergency. I didn't call 911. And because I was calling from my phone and they'll like hack into your phone here, they'll like track you. I can't walk by the police station or leave my house and have a police officer drive by me without my VPN like shutting off. So, they scan cell phones along like the main highway outside of town, and I'm sure they do it at the police station. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do. So forgot what I was saying. So okay, so I have non-emergency on the line, but Chris happens to also, I believe, answer the phone for emergency calls. So I asked him, what's the number to the ambulance department where I can actually have a real person answer? And he's like, why? And I go, because I want to talk to a supervisor. Why? I go, there's no fire. There's no, nobody getting murdered. There's no robbery. I just want to have a conversation, just something we saw. We just want to talk to him about it. And I have a witness, completely shut down. Everything I asked for, I got the opposite. Because when these cops are harassing you, they gotta always be a nosy body. They gotta come in so they can figure out what's going on and then make excuses for it. Oh, well, that happened because of this. It's not because of that. They gotta protect their asses. And I'm gonna be honest, because as I asked, what number can I have to call to speak with someone at the ambulance department? This guy instead insisted on having the police come over here to my job. I'm going to be posting a video of the non-emergency call. I'm going to let you guys be the judge. I'm also going to be posting the police officers that came over that I did not request. I didn't request the police. And it was unfortunately a waste of taxpayers' time and taxpayers' money. So I'll be posting that. So my manager was there, and this guy, my manager, he's not the most perfect person. And the store knows that, he's had issues with drinking. He's had issues with drugs. They know. Because not only did he have issues with that, and the police know, they know. Jennifer, that manager at the store who told me Christians are going to be getting persecuted. Well, welcome to my world. I've been getting persecuted for years because of my religion. She's an admitted meth addict. And on the phone, I just said, I don't do those drugs, blah, blah, blah. And I was upset with my manager at the time. And there's nothing I've said about my manager that I haven't said to his face. That's how I am. I'm not two-faced. So anyways, people were coming in the store aside from the ambulance department. Oh yeah, so one day, I was so disgusted with everything that was going on. And so were other people, that the ambulance guy came in, and I said, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you tell your friends at the cop station, your friends, the cops, if they keep dropping off cars here and abandoning them, I'm going to keep towing them. He's like, oh, the cops still harassing you? So it's like a game. It's like a game. And it's illegal. and it's unwarranted, it's unjustified, and it's abuse of authority. And again, people in this town know this. They know this goes on, and they communicate via social media. And when they hack your phone, everybody that's involved, everyone in town almost knows where you're at. And because I have home automation and who knows what else they put in my apartment, violating my employment, I'm sorry, tenant rights, tenant laws. They know what room I'm in. They know what appliance I'm using, home automation. They know if I'm looking out the window. They know if I walk out the door. They know if I open up a window, if I'm using the washing machine. I've come home to wash my clothes and I can't because there's only 1 inch of water filling up. Or I'll come home after working all day to take a hot bath, and my manager will decide I don't deserve hot water. And no one's taking a bath that day. Yeah. And because that was happening a lot, and at the time I was working where the temperature in which I was working was like 33 degrees, I would want to come home tired to take a hot bath, and I wasn't allowed. So I did call the cops, and the cops on that call, I'm sorry, I called the cops. I called emergency. I said, can you please send the cops to my house? I want to document my manager. There's different ways my manager's been harassing me, but one of the ways is he's not giving me hot water. Like I can't like take a hot bath or a warm bath. It's completely cold. And it had been, I think, no, it wasn't snowing yet, but the temperature in which I worked was really freezing. So, and I was in that temperature for 8 hours, minus, lunch and breaks. But so anyways, when I called to have the police come out, I got harassed. 911 harassed me. They're like, we're not coming out for that. So, they didn't come out. But when I want to talk to the supervisor at the ambulance department, instead, they're going to go ahead and send out the police. I mean, so it's frustrating to me. We got grown adults acting like we got to discriminate against you. We don't like you. And they're allowed to take the law, they're allowed to take policies, they're allowed to take standards and procedures into their own hands. They're above the law, they're above the Constitution, they're above civil rights, human rights. They're above employment laws, they're above tenant rights. These people, you got to watch out when you come to Norwalk, Iowa. These people are above the law. Don't you forget it. So, we also had customers coming in. So it wasn't just the ambulance department. We would have busybodies who were part of that whole, surveillance. They can watch us, and people were getting off on it. My manager would be standing at a store, not working, like be out of town or be down the road or whatever. And you would have customers. It was the same guy. Approach him out of nowhere, standing right behind him. Oh, hey, where is she? Where's so-and-so? Oh, when is she working again? Or what is she doing? Are you working with her? Or is she your girlfriend? Oh, you pick her up, you take her home. And we don't know this guy. But when they bother you and they're always in your face, you got to be nice to them to an extent. Until they start loitering and they got to start throwing a fit in the store. They got to throw like a newspaper across the counter. They got to misbehave. The cops give them this false entitlement to be nuisances, to disrupt the flow of business, to be disruptive. This guy would just approach my manager if my manager was sitting in the car and be like, where's your girlfriend? Is she your girlfriend? Is that your girlfriend? Where is she? Or are you taking her home tonight? Are you picking her up? It's not normal. It's creepy. And this same guy, I'm going to tell you this story, would come in, and I was nice to him because he's a customer. And he had lost his checkbook. And I ended up being the one to make sure he got it back. So, as a courtesy, I gave him free coffee. We were supposed to give the cops free coffee, but I think the cops knew better that our coffee is probably not the best coffee. It's not bad coffee. But, I give this older guy free coffee, and I talk to him sometimes. But he, there's a policy where they can't be there longer than 5 minutes and not buy nothing. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you are. But our own company doesn't uphold that policy, because the cops can have their domestic terrorists, their troublemakers, their organized criminals come and do what they want. And if the cops aren't happy with you taking the abuse, the cops will come in and try to put you in a position where the cops are going to convince your managers, they're going to convince HR, they're going to convince your coworkers that I'm wrong, I have no rights, and when I'm working, I cannot implement the policy of the store. Don't believe me? Ask Officer Skygle. So this old guy overheard that I was trying to buy a car, because people who watch my channel know what happened to my car in Los Angeles. So he kept saying, oh, well, there's a car I want you to look at. Like always talking about it, coming in, seemingly appearing to be helpful. But what ended up being quite the opposite. And what the cops do with these people is that the cops will try to have them befriend you or being friendly. Then the cops will instruct them. It's like, I forgot what it's called. They did this in Europe, and they found that the police who were doing this were negligent of misconduct. But they get these people to like try to befriend you and like be all up in your business and try like always being nosy for the cops, so the cops will know what's going on. And then when you kind of put your guard down and you're nice, these people will try to violate you in one way or another. They'll try to put you in harm's way in one way or another, or instill fear one way or another. And the way this guy did this to me is he kept bothering me. It turned out to be more of a nuisance, because he was like, okay, well, give me your number. And, like, there's a car down the road. I'll take you. And I go, well, listen, I really don't want to go anywhere if I don't know for a fact this car is not a lemon. I want to go home. All I want to do is sleep when I have my day off. So long story short, he convinces me to go look at this car at the dealership. I go look at this car. I test drive it. It doesn't go faster than 30 miles an hour. It doesn't go in reverse, and the brakes weren't working. And the owner of the dealership was not aware of the condition of the car. And when I told him what the car was like doing, he refused to sell me the car. But the old guy from the store kept trying to convince him to sell me the car. And the owner said, that car is not safe. Why would you want her to buy that car? Because you have about 7, 8 cars. Why don't you let her borrow one of your cars? And the old guy didn't say anything. So as he was driving me home, because I felt like he wasted my time, we were driving on the road to my house, and I said, you missed the turn. You need a turn there. He goes, no, I'm going to take you home the way you walk home. And then he looks at me and he goes, I wasted a lot of time and gas on you. You owe me. And we get to the parking lot of my house, and I thank him. I'm like, I got to go. I'm so exhausted. I got to go. I'm like, bye. Thank you. And he goes, And as I'm going up to my apartment door, he runs up, and as I open the door to go in, he comes in. And it's a security door. So I'm just thinking, okay, he probably just wants to walk with me to my front door. So anyways, I thank him. I let him know I'm tired. I got to go to sleep. I'm exhausted. And as I go in my apartment, I say bye, and I go to shut the door. He puts his head in the door. He puts his foot in the door. He happened to be wearing those boots, like had a steel toe. he got really strange, and he's trying to force himself in my apartment. And you know when you're exhausted and then like you get like scared and you start screaming? That's what happened. And so I was struggling with trying to keep him out and trying to shut the door. He eventually left. So the police put you in harm's way nonstop with these devils that they send to go find out what's going on, to watch you, to go interrogate you, to try to seem like they befriend you, and then go and try to screw you over, maybe rape you in your apartment. And when I told the officer what this guy did, you know what the officer said to me? Well, I can't do nothing about it. You guys are friends. You see what I'm talking about? And my manager was right there. He goes, I can't believe these officers. I can't believe it. Because this old man, supposedly, I don't know what was going on with him, but he would come in a lot and he would buy gas and stuff. And that's fine, but you got to be somewhat respectable. If you can't be respectable, don't say nothing at all. But he started trying to start fights with my manager, being disrespectful, going in his face, taunting him about where I'm at, am I his girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. And then he came in the store, he was, loitering because my manager was there with me. And then giving my manager dirty looks and making comments. And, if you want to buy gas, come in and buy gas, but leave. So because he was just being a problem with not getting free coffee, I charged him like $1 something. He got really mad. Then he got a newspaper and threw it, and then he wouldn't leave. And instead of paying $1, he threw a quarter at me. Just ridiculous stuff. Why do I have to put up with this? I asked him to leave and he wouldn't leave. He was making a scene in front of other customers. And again, these people out here have weapons, and I'm not babysitting some 85-year-old guy. That the cops are aware of what he's doing because they can see everything in that store. They can listen in on what's going on in that store. They got a car across the street surveillancing the store. So these people are allowed to violate you, to put you in harm's way, to be a problem, to cause strain at the workplace. But I can't ask them to leave. How dare I ask them to leave? And when he wouldn't leave, I ended up having to call the cops. My manager was there. And the cops came and they were interrogating me like I was in the wrong. And my manager said, she has the right to refuse service. She has her reasons. And I told the cop what he did to me at my house. And the cop was like, oh, well, you're friends. I can't do nothing about that. So these cops protect their troublemakers. But they'll let their troublemakers put you in harm's way, harass you at your job. And, not be held accountable for trying to force themselves in your apartment. So, people have seen over and over what the cops allow the community to do, at least to me. When you have third parties harassing you at your job, it's not just, it's not like the blatant religion. I know this has everything to do with my religion, my relationship with God, my relationship with Jesus Christ from the very beginning. And I'm nobody special, but I gotta pay for the crimes everyone else in this town does. Drug using, drug dealing, being pedophiles, being molesters, hitting people, being violent, burglarizing. All these people doing these things are getting away with it. But I'm trying to go home, trying to do my job. I get put in the spotlight. I'm talked about on Facebook. I'm hunted, thanks to the police. They've assassinated and destroyed my reputation and my character so bad I can't even get a job, let alone keep a job. I get stalked to my jobs. and my landlord has assisted them. So you got third-party interference of harassment. I'm being victimized. I'm being discriminated against, and on very different levels. In a town that has a cult mentality. It's a cult mentality. And it's criminalistic. It's corruption. It's greed. It's terrorizing somebody, and it's, I have to be calm. I have to look at these people and say, I feel sorry for them. Yet I can't have an income. I'm not allowed to have friends. So moving on with this video. When I tell people I'm not allowed to have a job, I'm not allowed to have income, I'm not allowed to have friends, I'm telling you, that's the way the people who run this world, that's how they want it. Because I'm not supposed to go to court and fight for Jesus Christ. And they knew that was coming. They knew that was coming. So with everything that was going on, we had people in the community that were once friends, not friends of mine. They weren't allowed to be friends of mine. I had old coworkers tell us, we're not allowed to talk to you. We're not allowed to give you a ride. Just you're on your own. You're a bad person, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're mentally ill, blah, blah, blah. So, when people started noticing that I, for once in a long time, had a friend, what appeared to be a friend, the police had sent in this guy. Well, this guy had come in out of nowhere in the very beginning. His name is Robbie. He's from California. And I never met this guy. I never seen him prior to him coming in the store, being a problem, being a nuisance. And this guy, I found out, was in rehab. He was a meth addict. And and the thing is, my job, employer knows, my manager has a vulnerability to drugs. I don't. These people may drive me to drink. I may go get 4 shots of whatever, cheap vodka or something, because I'm allowed to. I'm not driving. These people drive you crazy. But I don't have a problem where I got to drink every day, all day. And my manager has a past with having issues with drugs. And everybody knows it. The cops know who's doing what. These people hack into your phone. These people will bug your car. They like have home automation and business automation, commercial automation everywhere. So, it's they know what everyone's doing. This is all entertainment. So when, they saw that there's somebody around me all the time witnessing what's going on, the abuse, the harassment, the stalking, they had to send someone in to entice my manager with drugs. The one thing, that my manager is vulnerable to. And when they did this, they sent a stranger in to the store. And he says to my manager, "Oh, let's hang out. Why don't you come to my house, let's hang out, come on." And he got him on drugs, on meth. My manager had used drugs before, and I refused to take part in that. And I told him, "You're going to be hanging out with him? I don't want nothing to do with you. That guy's nothing but trouble. He's a devil." Like, I couldn't even be around him. He'd come into the store later, being a troublemaker, trying to distract my manager from working, to do drugs, go get drugs. And my manager's personality completely changed. It almost killed him. They wanted to find a way to take control of my manager so that my manager wouldn't be around me. Because when you're a targeted individual and your rights are being violated and abused left and right, and you got to hang on to every dollar you have because you never know when you're going to be allowed to have a job, they want you isolated. They don't want you to have friends. They have to assassinate your character to keep you isolated. So when they have their little stalker community people stalking you and harassing you, They don't want there to be witnesses. They don't want someone to mess up with what they got going on so they can get their taxpayers on the back end, fraud the taxpayers, get paid on the back end. They don't want nothing, interfering with that money coming in. Or whatever paybacks on the back end that they're getting. So they were trying to find a way to create division amongst my coworkers, create hostility in my work environment, create and manufacture fraudulent and unnecessary tension and hatred and division amongst the community. This is in my work. This is outside my work. This is within the community of the apartment complex I live in. Everyone is supposed and told to treat me like I'm a criminal, like I'm trash, to follow me, to try to surveillance me. When they got the biggest trash doing this to me, oh, I'm mentally ill? Okay, well, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about this. And I'm not saying I'm the smartest person, because I'm not. But when you are put in a position where you're being hunted like an animal, and this is being done without your consent, you were signed up behind your back to be a target, to be hunted, to have your life destroyed, and people are profiting off of it one way or another. I got people in Teslas doing this to me. People in big, expensive trucks doing this to me. They got nothing else better to do, but they can use that extra money. This is being done without my consent, against my will. I'm enslaved by a corrupt system. This is enslavement, and it's abuse. It violates laws. It violates our Constitution. And it's not just human and civil rights. It violates my tenant rights, my employment rights, my peace of mind. Luckily, God gave me, I'm blessed. I'm blessed that I don't want to say I'm above these devils, but I have to be the bigger person in these situations. So, we had this guy befriend my boss, this stranger from California who came into the picture right after me. He did a beeline right to my manager, and it was all about meth. And the cops, wanted to find a way to have control over my manager. And then I have, someone who lives in my building who works across the street come in and say, the community doesn't want you to be with him. So then the plan was to have me go work across the street and have my manager stay at my store. But when I wasn't going to leave, the plan then was to have my manager go work across the street and leave me at the store. And when that wasn't working, the girl came in, Jennifer, and says, oh, well, our store just bought out your store. You're not going to have a job. Come and work over here. And, I wasn't born yesterday. I looked it up online. I looked at the NASDAQ. Is there an IPO? What's going on? What's going on with the board of directors? What's going on with the owner? No, that store did not buy out Get and Go. It's all lies. So yeah, we have people coming in saying, the community doesn't want you guys to be with each other, be around each other. So we got a lot of interference from people we either barely know or we just don't know. But when they had this guy, Robbie, be a pest with my manager and always text him about drugs and always be driving by his house. And then when I would leave my house, that guy, Robbie, that weirdo who does meth with guys at his house, he lives on Lakewood Boulevard. He has a 12 or 14-year-old daughter, and he does meth with these guys. A lot of guys, it's all about guys, but guys on the down low with the drugs, if you know what I mean. I'd be walking down the street, he'd be driving by me. I'd leave my house, he's driving by. They got these sick people just destroying our community. So that guy, Robbie, almost had my manager killed because my manager got so messed up and involved with meth. When he was around me, he was sober. He wasn't doing meth. He was drinking, but he wasn't doing meth. Because I don't want to be around that. So when he started hanging out with Robbie, he started sneaking it behind my back. But then he started acting crazy, crazy, crazy. He wasn't showing up to work. He was throwing violent fits with the merchandiser, accusing her of her taking his keys. He got really violent with me. He's like choked me to death. He's like bit me. He almost killed me with a frying pan, chasing me out the door to the steps in my apartment complex, passing out drunk in the parking lot because he can't behave himself. I can't trust him in my apartment. And the cops seeing him. And what did the cops tell him? Oh, put a cap on it. But yet I get blamed for things I don't do, for things you couldn't pay me to do. I get hunted and people profit off of it one way or another. And I want it to stop. I want to be left alone. I want to be able to have a job. I don't need the police having people, strangers from the community, them assassinating my character to people I don't know in the community. And these people getting paid to destroy my life. I'll tell you in another video what happened at my last job. And the problem is these police, when they don't get their way, they want to abuse you and they want you to take it. And when you speak up a little bit about it, they don't like it. So they will use their domestic terrorists. You know, it's the Donald Trump by the Donald Trump playbook. They'll use those people, lie to them about you, have you hunted. And they will bring this chaotic, destructive, criminalistic behavior into your job. They will convince your managers. If they can't convince them, they'll bribe them. If they can't bribe them, they'll give them drugs. If that doesn't work, they'll pressure them. That you gotta go. You don't deserve that job. Do whatever it takes. Harass her. Harass her any way you can. And that's what my HR did. That's what my manager did. And I have to start documenting everything, because the minute I put my guard down and I assume the police are going to be, fair, they're going to be normal, they're just, going to be doing their job, they got better things to do, they're going to be honest, that's when everything goes wrong. And the only one who pays at the end is me. I got to be putting up with this insanity. Yet they want to project that I'm mentally ill. They have to attack my mental health. I'll tell you who has good mental health. There's a lot of people out there who get accused of having mental illness. And so the people who got to say this about you, they'll say it behind your back. They don't got the balls. They don't have the balls or the character. They don't have the capability to say that to my face. Let's talk about mental health. Let's get into it. I had people at my last job who supposedly have a medical background that never met me. These people, I would get stalked to my last job, and a person that supposedly, I'm not sure if it was who it was on the phone, because they refused to tell me their name. But you had HR abusing employment laws, just like my last job at Get and Go. They're told to get rid of you and do whatever it takes. Make up whatever you got to make up. Attack whatever you want to attack. Just do it. And I'm the bad guy, because I get tired of it. I'm the bad guy because now I have to write you an email. Now I have to talk to someone above you. Now I have to turn you in like I'm going to turn Getting Going. So it's not like, you know, I want to be left alone. I want to like be able to go jogging. I want to be able to like have my apartment and like have furniture and just live, you know, that's all. But I'm not allowed. I got to be bullied by the cops. I got to be stalked and harassed by the ambulance department and the police department and the rest of these crazies in town who don't know better, that know they're doing wrong. They know wrong from right. If they want to make money on the side, why don't they enlist one of their children? Why don't they enlist their wife? Why don't they enlist their husband? Why don't the cops enlist themselves so they can get hunted and harassed? Oh, never mind. They're allowed to abuse their authority, their police. I forgot. So I wanted just to tell you guys that, you know, I wanted to make it clear that, you know, when you talk to the chief of police and he tells you it's going to stop and it doesn't, and you got all this craziness going on. Oh, so I wanted to tell you real quickly before my time runs out, because my time's probably going to run out, that when they were leaving cars with bullets in the parking lot, a woman came into the store and she told me she had a police scanner and that they're breaking into all the Get and Go stores in Des Moines. And this was even a bigger security issue for me, for my safety and safety of others and the security of the store. And I asked if they caught the people, and she said no, they haven't caught them in years. And they were breaking into every one of them, according to her, when I was working at this location. And sure enough, I look it up online, and they haven't caught anyone. Clerks are getting hurt, and someone got shot in the face in the parking lot. So, again, guys, I'm not going to tolerate this harassment. This just you know, I want to be left alone. But it's too much to ask for. So, before I go, I want to tell you again that I got that video back. I ordered it from the police station, and it was covered, the video was covered with all kinds of graphics. And the audio was spliced. It was like chopped up and parts were taken out, and it was put back together to conceal the things the officer said to me that correlate with what Chief Staples told me about the stalking and harassment and who was behind it. And so when they chopped it up and spliced it, you know, I had that day not eaten much. I hadn't hydrated that much. And I went to an interview. I had orientation. And then I got a tour of the facility. And then this was all on foot. I walked over there, I did that. And then I walked into town to shop for food and shop for clothing, and walked back with about 10 bags of stuff. And I was like exhausted, exasperated, and I'm hypoglycemic. So as someone who's hypoglycemic, if I don't get food and hydration, if I like don't eat, like my blood levels, sugar levels, like they drop, and like, you know, I kind of turn into an airhead, and I'm exhausted. Like I need to eat something. So when I was talking to the officer at that time, that's how I was feeling. And it was edited and chopped up. Things were taken out that were pertinent to my argument, for the police to sweep their crimes under the carpet, their behavior under the carpet, to conceal what they're doing that is against the law. And they turned it around and suggested there's something going on with me. I'm not right. There's something not right about me. Well, yeah, at that time, I needed to eat. I didn't want to be stalked by one of your gangsters. I'm trying to go about my day. I'm trying to, you know, move on with my life. And I got to deal with that every day, all day. So yeah, I was exasperated. I was exhausted. I was hot. I was thirsty. I was starving. And again, I carried literally 10 bags of stuff, groceries, clothes, stuff. Maybe like a mile, like just, you know, like when you go to the car and you try to pick up all these grocery bags and you try to like run upstairs. It's hard to do. Imagine doing that for like 3/4 of a mile or a mile. And then you got all that other illegal activity around you. And I'm not allowed to be disturbed. Like, I was like experiencing like some anxiety and PTS. I think that's natural under the conditions and under the environment in which I was in. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next video. Initially, when I tried to make this video, it stopped because apparently I'm not allowed to make videos. They got, somehow my videos got to get disrupted and my uploading gets disrupted. So thanks for watching. I hope everyone's doing well, and I'll see you on the next video. Be good to each other.